Up and at 'em on a Wednesday morning, May the 21st, as we have wrapped things up. It's come to a conclusion, and probably in a very fitting manner did it come to a conclusion. They come out the gate strong, bases loaded, no outs, a chance to really make a statement early on. They don't make a statement. And then slowly and surely, Florida rips the ball out of the ballpark and all over the park, and last night concludes South Carolina's baseball season. And we will discuss that a lot today and put a bow on that, as Preston said to me as I walked in, an autopsy.
Autopsy time, baby.
Of what transpired.
Let's figure out what happened.
Last night. Well,
cause of death.
I say last night, but really, quite frankly, yesterday was almost like a foregone conclusion. And what it did do was place records on overall number of losses and not that this one was already decided last Saturday, but number of losses in the conference at 24. But South Carolina falls to Florida yesterday. I wouldn't say that was a shocker. The Gamecocks did kind of what I expected. They lose 11-3. And by the way, if you're keeping track, remember Paul Maneri, we kind of played that audio yesterday. That would make it a whopping 50-11 in the 4 games this year that they were outscored by Florida.
Hey, man, sometimes it's
a bad matchup.
Yeah, sometimes it's matchup. Styles make fights, Bill. You know how this goes, man. And sometimes you just play against the wrong team and they got your number. That's how it goes sometimes.
It was like that in the 4 games that these two teams collided. 9-5, 22-3, 8-0, and 11-3. 50-11 was the outscoring that Florida did of South Carolina in the 4 games this year.
Styles make fights.
Thank goodness we didn't play them in Gainesville in their ballpark. So we'll get into that. That's our most important thing of the day. And I tell you what, Jen, let's go ahead and hit that and run that back there.
Now on the early game, let's kick off the show with the MITs. The most important things on the game.
Again, 11-3 yesterday, so that's it. 28-29, 6-24 in conference. Both records for South Carolina baseball, as the Gamecocks jump out 1-0 on Florida, but give up 3 in the second, 2 in the third, and by then, if you were still watching, kudos to you or your son. Maybe it's the reason that the season is come to a conclusion. You feel a little bit better.
Well, here's the deal. I told you yesterday, if this thing got off to a bad start early, we can go ahead and figure out which way this direction was going. And as you said they didn't make a statement because they got the bases loaded. But I would say they did make the statement.
Well, they made it. What I meant was they didn't make a statement early on of like getting out on Florida and putting the pressure on them.
Yeah, they made the statement of like, this is what we are.
Yeah.
This is who we are. This is what we've been. This is what we do. And if you was surprised or shocked or in doubt of what was going to happen as that game was going, then you probably haven't been paying attention all season. That being said, it's finally over. And now everybody can start having the conversations that everybody has been wanting to have for a while now. So everybody's going to move forward. And I would like to say this. Even though June 2nd is a couple of weeks away, the transfer portal is open.
Transfer portal has been open. It is open. It is. You can announce it any time. People could have been announcing on the bus ride back last night, on the plane ride back, whatever. And maybe that is something you keep an eye out for today, because who knows where this program goes now becomes the big question. The other part of the most important things of today, Paul Maneri, steadfast in what's going to be the summer routine for South Carolina in terms of what the coaching staff will look like. Now, my question to you, a serious question, and we're going to circle back to this later, is how much stock, and maybe we need to put this on the rundown and discuss this, how much stock do you put on a player or a coach discussing his future within an hour of the season ending?
Well, this season's been over for a long time. And so I understand the question as if this was an emotional game at the end and everybody had their emotions build up. But I would feel like they've been preparing for this for a while. So I don't think I understand what you're saying about maybe there's an emotional rush to judgment. You might say some things you don't mean, or you don't have a chance to really sit back and reflect on the season. But I feel like in this situation, he's been thinking about this for a while.
Well, and maybe the players too. But I still, when you get asked those questions in the moments after the game. And I go back to this kind of like an Arden Conyers or a Cam Scott or a Jordan Butler or something. By the way, did Jamari Thomas ever find a home with a lack of eligibility? I guess I should look at.
He's not the only one. There's several folks out there. And there's a new lawsuit.
Yeah, that's true. We'll come back to that. But to go back to that point, after the game, after the SEC tournament basketball game, Arden Conyers and Cam Scott both were like, yeah, we're in this for the long haul. We're back. Only to learn that both of them, what we're back meant isn't quite what we would define as their back. Now, Cam Scott returned from the portal. Somehow got himself, I must have tied a rope around his waist and jumped in, and then somebody pulled him back out.
Mm-hmm.
Arden Conyers forgot to tie the rope around his waist and went in and ended up at Charlotte.
Arden!
So that would be my question to you before we really get anything is, and we're going to autopsy the season, we're going to talk about things that Paul Maneri said yesterday. But even then, how much do you really put into what is exactly said in the moments after a game, in the moments after a historically bad season? Like, is it coaches speak because they're like, all right, we can get back home and I don't have to deal with the media here for several, whatever happens, but I don't actually have to deal with the media probably for several weeks.
Yeah, I like I said, I 100% understand your point. I understand the question, and I think in a lot of cases this is a very valid question, and I think a lot of times maybe you can't put stock, and you don't want to say things when you're emotional. But I would say that maybe the emotions have been drained out of them a long time ago in this particular case. And I think they're pretty steadfast in what they're saying.
Okay. All right, so we'll get into a lot of that. That's our most important things of the day. It'll be a lot of South Carolina baseball talk. Really, now that it's come to a full conclusion, we will revisit what exactly went wrong. We'll also look ahead to what has got to happen in the next few weeks. Playoffs last night. Did you get into the NBA at all? Was the NBA kind of on your radar there for getting into it?
I did. I checked a decent amount of it out. SGA is a really good, solid ball player. SGA is really good. SGA Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for Oklahoma City. They go up 1-0 against Minnesota Timberwolves. Pretty fun game to watch. But SGA does something that's a little bit different. He does this thing called shoots a mid-range jumper.
It's unheard of, kids.
There's this thing. There's a space between the paint and the three-point line where if you go in there, you have a pretty good chance of making some of those shots. And SGA does that very frequently. He does it often, and he does it very well, and it's fun to watch.
I watched some of that last night. I have a bad feeling about that series.
Sweet?
I think it's going to be a
gentleman sweep?
No. Here's what I think. I think every game, whatever it ends up being, is going to be a blowout. I think Minnesota's going to win some games. It wouldn't surprise me to see it go 7 games. It really wouldn't. But I think that these two teams, I think last night what you got was a 26-point victory for OKC, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Minnesota bounce back and win it. But I don't feel like you're going to get great games. It might go 5, it might go 6, maybe it goes 7. Certainly it could be a sweep, but I just feel like whatever you get in this series, they're going to be blowouts each game. One team's just going to dominate the other and make adjustments.
That's fair. It's all contingent on whether or not Minnesota makes their three-point shots.
Yeah.
Which I think they're maybe too reliant on.
So that was the NBA last night. NHL, Carolina Hurricanes at home. That was not good. It was not good.
Still waving
Couldn't track down Patrick Perret. He's probably in a little bit of hiding still. But Florida last night, 5-2, and that game was in Raleigh. And Florida came in. It was a very physical game. I don't know if you watched any of it. It was. I think the stat I had, and I don't know what the stat means, so I'm just going to read it back to you. But there were 11 what's listed as physical hits before the second shot of the game.
Okay, all right. I need to look into this stat. What's the difference between a physical hit and a non-physical hit?
I don't know.
All of the hits seem physical in hockey to me.
Well, it was
Is that
interesting.
up against the board?
It was interesting because there was also a play in the second period. I think we're still in the early enough hour but it was called a rub out, where what it was one guy was going down the boards and basically, because I had to look it up, I was like, are we just making stuff up at this point? But the Carolina Hurricane player caught him at an angle, so as he hit him, it wasn't like a full-on hit, but he kind of spun him, but I understood it kind of just stopped him in his tracks, so the puck went, and they're like, that's exactly how you do a rub out. And I was like, okay. And on my phone instantly, I'm like, let me see if we're just making stuff up on the broadcast or this is actually legit. I was like, all right, okay. So yeah, I was learning some terminology, but last night Florida Panthers looking to repeat as champions, knock off the Hurricanes 5-2. And again, I'm not even sure it was that close. Sergei Bobrovsky is a really good goalie. I'll just say that.
Yeah, Bobrovsky.
So that was your playoff talk last night. I know we'll do some chop talk tomorrow. Look out! I'm just
long season.
Braves last night.
Long season.
They were playing. Spencer Strider, by the way, makes his return last night for the Braves, and I didn't think to pull up his stat line right before I started talking about this. But the Braves lose last night. But again, Spencer Strider makes his return. Ronald Acuna Jr. is working his way back. The Braves have got themselves to even on the season, 24-24. They lost last night, but again, let me just say right now, if you look across what's kind of happening in the NL East, the Phillies are really good. The Mets, on the other hand, are starting to tank. They've lost 3 in a row. Phillies have won 5. Of course, it helps they're playing the Rockies right now. But the Braves are about 5 back of the Mets. And it feels like the Mets are now we're questioning Juan Soto's work ethic, whether he runs out ground balls.
Here's all I'm saying. If I pay you $400 million, I'm gonna need you to run first base. I mean, that's. I don't need a lot. I don't ask a lot. I don't know how much $4 million is worth these days, but I think you can run the first base.
So, Braves lose, though, last night. But Spencer Strider did make his return, and that's something to keep an eye on. I believe he is scheduled to start. This is kind of cool. I'll be there on Sunday for the Padres, and it'll be Ansley and Austin's first ever Braves game. Spencer Strider expected to start that one, so kind of excited about that. 803-404-6100 if you want to text in this morning. Coming up later on in the hour, we'll give you a chance to win some tickets to that would be pretty cool, but to Matthew Tucker, the Matthew Tucker concert, and we will give you a chance to do that, so stay tuned this morning. That concert will be tonight as well if you want to go see the Matthew Tucker Band. 803-404-6100. We'll do that later on in the show and get you that chance to win a pair of tickets. So a lot to get to, though. It's going to be a dissection, an autopsy of South Carolina baseball. It has come to a conclusion, folks. Whew.
Mercifully.
All over. And we'll start when we come back by getting into a little bit of an autopsy on the season and what exactly happened. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It is the Wednesday morning edition of the Early Game.
So, Freddie, well, guess what? Summer is almost upon us. Football season will be here before you know it. You need to have your outdoor setup ready. You can do all of that by calling the good folks at Integrated Media. You can get Samsung Terrace TVs that are waterproof, Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music, Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors, so you can have all your devices set up. You can have your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your TV, whatever you need. You can have it all set up outside so you can have multi-view screening for everything that you want to watch. From home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat, or maybe it's monitoring your security system from your cell phone, Integrated Media is the company that you need to call. So call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or you can reach them online at integratedmediainc.com.
We have a report of an accident, 12th Street extension near Old Wire Road. Also, Bushbury Road at Highway 302 and Wood Trail Drive at 321. Some storms that we've had early this morning, moving on out of here. It's going to be windy as it clears. 91 will be our high. Tomorrow morning, starting off a little bit cooler than today. The overnight low of like 63. Tomorrow, windy at times, 87, 81 on Friday. Right now, though, 73 on 107.5 The Game.
We've had a few good talks already, so I look forward to that. Coach Maneri will be our 31st coach in the history of South Carolina baseball. As of today, he is the active leader in career wins in Division I baseball with 1,505 wins. Only one of 5 Division I coaches in NCAA history have won over 1,500 games and have a national championship by their name. At LSU, he won the 2009 national championship. He paved the way for others. In 2017, he was a national runner-up. Listen at the next stat. He made 6 College World Series appearances, 5 with LSU, 1 with Notre Dame. He won 4 SEC championships, 6 SEC tournament championships, and 10 NCAA regional championships. He was a 2-time SEC Coach of the Year and a 4-time National Coach of the Year. He was at LSU for 15 seasons. 11 of the 14 full seasons, remember we had the COVID interruption, he won 11 of 14 years, he won at least 1 championship. That would be either the regular season, the tournament championship, a regional championship, a super regional championship, or a College World Series national championship. His players have earned first-team All-American recognition on 13 occasions, and he has 25 former players that have been in the big leagues. His coaching stints have been at St. Thomas University, Air Force, Notre Dame, and as I mentioned, LSU. He's won 70% of all the games that he's coached. That's the 4th highest winning percentage in SEC history, trailing only the legendary Skip Bertman, the young Tony Vitello from Tennessee, and another guy that you've forgotten already. Under Coach Maneri, the Tigers earned NCAA national seed in 6 consecutive years. National seeds in 6 consecutive years. Only one other team in history has done that. That is Stanford. He's a member of the American Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame, and I'll share a fact with you that is solely from the Maneri family. His late father, Demi Maneri, who was a great coach in his own right, won over 1,000 games, he's also in the American Baseball Coaches Hall of Fame. It's the only father-son combination in the American Baseball Coaches Hall of Fame. Let's give a round of applause for that.
That was a little less than a year ago, and it was at that day a very exciting day, a day that everybody was, I think, felt that Ray Tanner had hit a home run with the coaching search and landed Paul Maneri, and maybe he still did. Lou Holtz's first year was absolutely atrocious and was rock bottom for the South Carolina football team, and he would go on to get it turned around, and obviously a lot of his accolades were similar to what Paul Maneri we just heard, but an inauspicious debut, a season that we didn't know what exactly to expect. I think when it came out, Preston, and we saw that South Carolina was picked 14th in the SEC, there was a lot of us that scoffed at it and said, it doesn't seem right. Look at this guy's pedigree. This is a team with still a lot of really good players. They brought in some good transfers. That this team is coming off of at least making a regional. And somewhere along the line, not only did it not click, it took holes and sank.
So those who made the choice to rank us 14th, should we talk to them when we're making a coaching hire?
Well, they might have known something and been able to evaluate the roster maybe better than we could. Maybe we had on garnet-colored glasses, as he just said, coming off the regional, thinking that we're listening to that long list of accolades. It's not your fault if you was like, okay, you give Ray Tanner the benefit of the doubt. All right, this guy thinks I'm listening to these accolades, came off a regional. Why would you think that it would go the way that it ended up this year?
Here's the other part of this, and I know people are going to disagree with me, but this wasn't a bad team, and I'll tell you why. But it obviously wasn't a good team. Look at what they did against bad competition. They didn't lose to bad competition, right? They were, we talked about it, 20-0 against Quad 3 and Quad 4. So you're not bad. You're nowhere near being good in the SEC, though, and the problem is you play in the SEC. But you're not. It's not like, and I'm going to take a very cheap shot here, it's not like they lost to North Florida to open the season.
No, that's a fact.
I mean, like, we've seen, I guess, with basketball, I've seen bad teams who lose to Furman and Elon and Colorado State or, North Florida, and they lose these games. They didn't do that. Now, the question is, was this an incredibly great SEC year where South Carolina was just nowhere near? Not competitive, nowhere near. Is this a team that doesn't have SEC talent at all? We've talked to Jamie Bradford. Jamie Bradford disagrees with that. He thinks there's some talented players on this team. Were some of the injuries, the freak injuries, a part of this? As yesterday, as Paul Maneri talked about, and we haven't seen him pitch in almost 2 years, but losing your Friday night starter before the season began in Eli Jerzenbeck, obviously, would have he made a difference? When Dylan Eskew gets hit in the head during warm-ups and not only sustains a concussion but strains his oblique, what does that do to your pitching? Like, that also is just a cataclysm of the season.
Well, and pitching was an issue this season for sure. I mean, that was a very big weak spot for us.
We're going to get to that. That was huge. Nolan Naraki, who they bring in at second base. I think when we do an autopsy, there's a lot to try and digest from what this season was that ended up being historically the worst ever at South Carolina.
Well, you say historically the worst. Let's back that up with some numbers. 29 losses, the most in program history. This is from Alan Cole on Twitter. 29 losses, the most in program history. 6 SEC wins, the least in program history.
I like, by the way, that you went with the wins and not the losses. It said most.
Yeah, well, you got to.
It's a positive statement.
6 SEC wins, the least ever. 1 SEC series win, tied for the lead. That means they won 1 SEC series out of all of these games. 385 runs allowed, the second most ever in program history. 61 run differential, the fourth worst in program history, the worst since 1951. I would definitely consider that the modern era. And also, the final run differential, minus 157. Now, obviously, we know that's because a couple of those games got a little bit out of hand towards the end of the season.
What is it, at 39? That's a 39 run differential, but just in the Florida series alone.
Let's do some creative accounting here. If we take Florida off the books, run differential is not as bad. So these are just numbers. This is not editorializing. I will say it one more time. This is not me being an editorial. You already know what I'm going to give my opinion, but these are just numbers. 29 losses, most in program history. 6 SEC wins, the least ever in program history. Only 1 SEC series win. That's tied for the least ever. 385 runs allowed, the second most ever. 61 run differential, the fourth worst, the worst since 1957. And the whopper, to me, the SEC run differential, minus 157. The previous worst was 100. So
I'm just glancing.
By that.
Arkansas outscored South Carolina by 26. Also, there are those 2 games in which you lost Well, there's another. I mean, I've done. I can't speak for all of y'all. I've done a good job of blacking out some of this. Just moving on. I forgot about the 17-0 drubbing at Texas A&M that only took 7 innings. When you got beat one game 17-0, you got beat another game 24-2. You got beat another game 22-3. Those are football scores for a bad football team.
Well, yes, yes, and that again, that's editorializing. If you just lay out the numbers and you can say, hey man, was not a success.
I agree. The texter said, you said it right, Bill. Not a bad team, but a sorry SEC team, and I agree with that. That's 100%. I'm with that. Like that. I know that we play in the SEC, and that's the point of it. But yeah, that's kind of where I go with it in terms of. They are not an SEC, and the problem is you're in the SEC and you've been an SEC legitimate contender. But my question is, was this a epically good? If you watch the broadcast yesterday, I mean, they're talking about the number of teams that are going to get in, how many can host, and I mean, you're talking about a Florida team that started conference play 1-11 and is in line to potentially host a regional. They were one of those 4 teams that they flashed up on the graphic. So was this an epically good, historically good SEC year where South Carolina was in a transition phase? Or is the talent level on this SEC team that bad for this conference?
The problem is, like you said, they play in the SEC.
803-404-6100. We'll come back. We'll hit on that, and then that leads us to another part. Well, they were bad, but where was the bad at? It seemed to be the bad was at the pitching, and the pitching coach appears to be back. We'll let you hear about that and talk about that. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for Zero Rest, carpet and air duct cleaning. And, well, I can only speak for my kids, but I think it's a lot of them. Yesterday, they were officially out of school. That means they're going to be home all summer, probably tracking in dirt and dust, tracking in grass all over the floor. You want to keep those carpets, rugs, and towel all looking great this coming summer, and the only way to do that is with Zero Res, carpet and air duct cleaning, because with their patented ZR water technology that does not leave behind any sticky, soapy residue, does not use any harsh chemicals, you can feel comfortable with those carpets staying cleaner longer. That's right. Even during the summer, the kids aren't going to be able to ruin them. So give Zerez a call today, 803-262-4020, and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. Again, that's 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $119. All you need to do is mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You can book online as well, ZerezColumbia.com. Zerez, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
12th Street Extension near Old Wire Road, still working an earlier tie-up there, as well as Wood Trail Drive at 321 and Bushberry Road at Highway 302. Storms that we've had in the area going to be moving out this morning. It's going to be windy as it clears. 91 for the high. Overnight low a little bit cooler. 63 overnight. Tomorrow 87 is the high we're looking for. Kind of windy at times. 81 on Friday. It's looking like by the time we get to Memorial Day, it'll be back up to about 86 and a chance for some scattered thunderstorms. But right now, 73 on 107.5 The Game.
.35 on a Wednesday morning. As you heard Jen say, storms should be clearing out here in the Midlands. Hope you're doing well. Maybe, just maybe for many of you, the first day of not having to go get in the school drop-off line or having to rush the kids up and make sure they've got their math book or their homework or shoes on, all the fun things.
Especially if you lost power, because we lost power this morning. Did you guys?
If I did, I'm unaware of it.
Yeah, I mean, luckily generator kicked in, but I mean, it was showing that we lost power about 4:45. No, I don't know. We lost power actually before that, so it would have been more like 4 o'clock this morning, and didn't get resolved till about an hour, 45 minutes ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I must have had power then. I say that, I guess, because both the alarm went off. Which I'm here. So that's a positive. And also the coffee machine worked when I got up.
So score on that one.
So yeah.
Put the coffee machine on the generator just in case. Just in case.
Don't worry about the alarm. And you guys, I'd show up at 7:30 a.m. with my coffee.
Have the coffee machine on the generator.
So hopefully everybody's okay this morning and you're up and running. But yeah, might be the first day of not having to go getting those pesky drop-off lines at the school and get the kids up and get them going, maybe let them sleep in a little bit. 803-404-6100. So kind of autopsying the season, working backwards, forwards to where we're at and what the next steps are. But one of the questions will be, what about the pitching staff? Now, Paul Mainieri has talked about this at times and maybe been too honest, Preston, about his amazement at the number of power pitchers in this league. I do agree a little bit with Jamie Bradford. You don't have to have all dudes up there throwing at 96, 98, topping out at 100. You got to have guys that are accurate, know how to work the count. You got to have a pitching coach that can help them do that. And this year, it did not seem like any of the pitchers really improved or moved forward. I do agree with Jamie Bradford on that as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, the numbers. Without editorializing, without giving an opinion, you can look at the numbers and say that the program ERA this year was the worst ever in history. Period. That is not any bias. Those are just straight hard facts and straight hard numbers. Now, we could get into the reasons why. I'm sure Terry Rooney would have his reasons why. I'm sure Paul Mainieri would have his reasons why. I'm sure the players would have their reasons why. All of those things don't matter, but the most important part is that this pitching staff was insufficient. They did not perform up to any level or any standard of play. And then the person whose responsibility for it, the pitching coach, is the person that you have to hold accountable for those numbers.
And yesterday, after the game, I don't know if it was John Whittle or Jack or David Cloninger, one of those three, but give credit to them. They asked a big question about Terry Rooney and his role for next season. Here is the response from Paul Mainieri following the question about Terry Rooney.
No, Terry Rooney is here to stay. He's an outstanding coach, great recruiter, great pitching coach. You do the best you can, and we'll get better. We need to. We had some young kids that I think that showed flashes of being pretty good for us, and we're going to get some kids in recruiting, and we've got a couple of freshmen coming in that I think are going to help us. And Terry Rooney is here to stay. He's not going anywhere. He's an outstanding coach, and he'll prove that as we go forward. And changes with our staff.
So, again, and that's why I ask you, all right, I believe him. That's his guy. We even pointed out at one point this year, Paul Maneri said Terry and I are going to get this thing fixed. This was, again, statistically speaking, the worst ERA ever in program history for South Carolina baseball. Doesn't mean the bats were necessarily exceptional, but I will say this, and as somebody pointed out on our text line, those scores that I read out, says the scores you read, some of those were 9 and 10U travel ball scores.
Late games, alternate field.
I haven't thought to even run the numbers on this. Again, you kind of go through a season, it all becomes a bit of a blur, but just giving you some of the numbers. Let's go back here for just a second. You got 22 runs given up in a game, 11, 24. I mean, there was a period where they were on a run of giving up double-digit runs of like 4 or 5 games in a row. Again, you go back to Kentucky puts up 11 on them in one game. Mississippi put 12 up on them and run ruled them in a particular game. By the way, that might also have a record for most times being run ruled in a season.
Yeah, I
don't know if anybody looked that one up.
We have to look for the official statistics on that. There may be something there.
I think the one where everybody really started to take notice was the 2 grand slams in the 9th inning against Texas A&M to blow that game. A game which looked like they may actually run rule Texas A&M, but they gave up 15. They gave up 17 to Texas A&M in a particular game. Again, 11 to Mississippi State. They gave up 13 to North Carolina, again against Arkansas, 11, 12, and 12 in those games. Remember, they had the Oklahoma game, and yeah, maybe it was a freak thing with the wind blowing out and the ball kind of just blew out of the park. But again, you blew a lead that you could have had. There's a lot of games that you point to like that where South Carolina gave up a lot of runs.
Well, yeah, those are the easy numbers. You can look at those numbers and say, hey, something's not going right. But then when you dissect into the season, a lot of people are asking about the way that they handled the pitching staff. Yeah. When they put guys in, when they took guys out, who they started. Did they have the rotation set? So yes, they did give up a lot of runs, but maybe that's just a symptom of the actual issues, which were maybe deeper involved in the coaching. Obviously, it didn't work. And what they need to figure out is why it didn't work. You can be a great coach. You can be an outstanding coach, but you still need to look in the mirror and be like, I failed this year. I failed myself. I failed my players. Something did not work. What am I going to change in the next year to make myself better, first and foremost, to make myself better? Because all the coaches always talk about accountability. So first and foremost, how are they going to look in the mirror, figure out what they are going to do different next year in order that they don't get those same results?
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in. We'll continue to discuss this morning. But yesterday we lost a great one. We lost a great one with a bunch of great one-liners and kind of quips and quotes.
Norm.
That's why I'm sitting here. I've got all it says. We don't have time to do this morning because it's 18 minutes long. But here is every time Norm Peterson walked into Cheers.
Yeah. I used to always say that was what they would do at like Lowe's or Home Depot for my husband and say his name when he walked in because he was there so frequently. But, yeah, I think one of my favorite Norm quotes was, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and I'm wearing Milk-Bone underwear.
There you go. Yep, there you go. 803-404-6100. We'll do a little honoring of Norm and George Wendt when we come back. You're listening to The Early Game.
Preston here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. Cracked windshield? No problem. They'll come out to your location and they'll replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with the insurance company to take away the headache. That's right. They'll come out to wherever you are, school, home, work, it does not matter. Absolute Glass will come out to you, take care of the job. Now, if you're at home and you're looking to increase the value of your home, you can do that with new windows or mirrors, and Absolute Glass will take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. Say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. Press here for our friends at Integrated Media. Listen, we've been telling you to get yourself ready. The spring was told you to get ready for the spring. Well, that's gone. Summer is on the way, which means football season is around the corner. And you need to have your outdoor setup ready for August 31st. That is coming. So what do you get with your outdoor setup? You can get Samsung Terrace TVs that are waterproof, so it doesn't matter if there are storms like there were, you can still watch your TV. Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music, so you can hear the game, you can hear the music, you can hear whatever you want to hear. Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors. Have all your tablets set up, tablet, phone, iPad, whatever you need, you can have it all set up running on the same Wi-Fi. Or my personal favorite, controlling all your devices from just one remote. So from home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat or monitoring your security system from your cell phone, Integrated Media is the company that you need to call. So call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or you can reach them online at integratedmediainc.com.
Afternoon, everybody. Afternoon, everybody. Afternoon, everybody. Afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, I was just watching. They've got again, it's about an 18-minute clip, but I mean, granted, that show in particular was just slightly ahead of my time, but I feel like I might have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I watched that show for sure, but I was too young to really understand everything that was happening, so I got to go do a rewatch because it was part of that Thursday night lineup. If I remember correctly, the Cheers, Cosby Show was around that same time, so all those shows were playing, and I need to go back and watch it. But what I do know is that if we want to get sporty sport here, Mount Rushmore, Hall of Fame, start bench cut, you cannot have any of those about television theme show songs without having this song in the clip. Jen, hit the clip. What a banger.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name. You want to go where people know people are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
So good.
What a banger.
Learned this yesterday. Did y'all know that is not the original song?
Okay.
I don't know that I did that. I don't know that I knew that.
I had to look it back up right now to sing it correctly. So the opening line is singing the blues when the Red Sox lose. It's a crisis in your life. On the run because all your girlfriends want to be your wife and the laundry ticket's in the wash. And they changed it. They changed it to that.
Good job.
Well, and you know the whole premise of that was Sam Malone was the
relief
pitcher from the Red Sox.
That's why you have editors, because that first song
wouldn't have worked.
It's okay. It's fine.
Well, it gets the show started as far as the premise of who Sam is and all that, but then all these other characters evolve, so you're right. That wouldn't have worked long term.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you got.
Also, that's I said the edited version, but that is the quick version for the opening. Because yesterday, Austin got an award at school, so afterwards I went and got lunch, and at that time was when I learned that George Whitten passed away. And the little touch tunes, the little jukes box you can use, I played that, and it's about a 3.5-minute song, and those are the only words. Like I thought it was like a song, like a 3.5-minute song where that was the chorus, and there was a few other words in there. I learned yesterday also, which is talk about going down a rabbit hole on a 3:30 on a Tuesday. But I learned that they changed the show writers. The show writers, as you just said, went back and changed the actual opening line for it to fit the show better than what the not Dave Portnoy. I think the writer's name was Ben. I think it's Ben Portnoy. Oh, great! I have to look this back up. Portnoy is his last name, but
he's not a sports writer.
No, but pretty interesting stuff there with how that show, and it ran from 82 to 93. So again, I was thinking about it yesterday. 93 is really right before TGI Fridays took off with.
I know for sure I watched Cheers. I watch it with my dad every Thursday. I just don't remember. I remember laughing, but probably not knowing what I was laughing about.
Not totally understand.
He was laughing, so you laughed?
Yeah, kind of that deal. Like we're watching the show together. It's cool. So it's part of that Thursday night lineup, but now I got to go back and watch it because I can really understand
and
what's going on now.
And kind of watch the difference when you had Shelley Long as part of the show, and then you had Kirstie Alley as part of the show.
As part of the show.
Right.
There's a whole different dynamic of the show. Yeah, tremendous show.
Gary Portnoy.
There you go.
Yeah,
the lesser known of all the Portnoys.
Well, kind of like Marshall Tucker, the dad to Matthew Tucker.
Yes.
And Tanya Tucker.
We will be giving tickets
Just
away.
Being smart. That's not legitimate. So don't quote me on that.
We will be giving tickets away coming up in the next segment to the Marshall Tucker Band tonight over at the Township Auditorium.
It's okay, and I will say I don't defend you often, Bill, but that was a typo.
Yes, thank you.
That came from somebody upstairs. They just made a little mistake.
Very talented at making myself look poor to begin with. So, but yeah, Marshall Tucker Band tonight. So we'll give those tickets away. But yeah, George Witt, and honestly, we're missing one of his other great roles. You two don't know it?
Oh,
well, I mean, it's a spoof. It's a spoof. I mean, it's
besides the Bears.
That's what I was going with.
I think I was thinking he was in a kids movie or something too. But yeah, he was great with
the Bears. We might have to pull that back a little bit.
Yeah,
classic actor.
Good stuff.
R.I.P. to him and his family. 76 years of age, and said passed away peacefully in his sleep. We'll come back. We'll get into more baseball. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Old Timey Meat Market. You know my voice just picks up a little bit when I think about those delicious steaks, the incredible chicken, the phenomenal pork chops, and, of course, that salmon that they have. Old Timey Meat Market is the Gunner family's go-to. And with Memorial Day weekend upon us, you best believe that is where I'll be stopping today, probably tomorrow, and even Friday, just checking out all the great cuts of meat. Now, I go to the Lexington store, but you could also visit the St. Andrews store in Irmo or the South Congaree store. 3 locations to go and visit with the incredible butchers at Old Timey Meat Market. And that's what they wanted to do, create a non-traditional meat buying experience. Basically, it's like your old school butcher shop. They want to know your name. They want to know your kid's name. That's what I love about it. I go in there, Ansley and Austin, my two, they love going in there because the butchers know their name. They want to talk to them. They want to ask them what they want. It is a family environment, and that is why I love visiting Old Timey Meat Market. Do it yourself today. Stop by Old Timey Meat Market and tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Twelfth Street Extension near Old Wire Road, an accident there. Also Bushbury at 302. And Wood Trail Drive at Highway 321, still working those earlier slowdowns. As it clears out, we're going to kind of be left with maybe some windy conditions. 91 for the high today, overnight low of 63. And tomorrow, 87 for the high, 81 for your Friday. It's a little bit overcast right now, and 73 on 107.5 The Game.
Let's give you a chance to win some tickets right now. 803-404-6100. Text the word Tucker to 803-404-6100. Text the word. It is a text to win giveaway here at 7 a.m. Marshall Tucker Band tonight over at the Township Auditorium. So remember, this is it is the Ramblin' Rooster Tour. J.J. Gray and Mofro or Mafro, I'm not sure. I've never actually heard of them, but I have heard of the Marshall Tucker Band, and you can win tickets right now. Send us a text, 803-404-6100 to Tucker, and we will respond shortly, and you will know if you are the winner or not. So, again, that concert, though, tonight at the Township Auditorium. Text the word Tucker, Tucker, to 803-404-6100, and we will have a winner, and we will have someone get in touch with you, and you will go to the concert tonight. The Marshall Tucker Band tonight should be a lot of fun, so make sure you text in now if you want a chance to win tickets to the Marshall Tucker Band tonight over at the Township Auditorium. 803-404-6100. That's how you can text in, or if you want to text about the baseball team or Cheers and George Wendt. Either way, whatever you want to text in, that's what we've been discussing this morning as we get you up and get you going. And yesterday, South Carolina, Preston, they just – and we're going to listen to Paul Maneri here in just a minute, but the story of the season, as he puts it, and it really was. South Carolina had a golden opportunity early. You mentioned it yesterday. Get on Florida early. Florida was playing for something yesterday. South Carolina was playing to basically survive, to play another game. Mm-hmm. Florida's playing to play games at home after the SEC tournament, to host a regional. Their resume is probably the weakest of the four that they highlighted yesterday. Alabama, Tennessee, and Mississippi, the other three teams that are vying for a host spot in the regionals. And yesterday, South Carolina gets the bases loaded right off the bat. South Carolina was the away team. They're batting first, bases loaded, no outs, and they're only able to get one run home.
Yeah, and that's, if you've watched the team this year, you basically be like, yeah, that seems about right. And what I said yesterday was, if they were able to get something started, maybe people would jump on the bad win.
Right.
Maybe people would feel good. When you only get one run, that leads to, oh, here we go again. And sure enough, self-fulfilling prophecy, it went again.
And yesterday after the game, Paul Maneri discussed this. He mentioned how the game was a story of their season. Here's what he had to say.
Well, I thought we'd have a tough game today. Obviously, Florida's got outstanding players, and got off to a start there, bases loaded, nobody out in the first inning, and they only could get one run out of it. And they turned around and hit the 3-run home run, and after that, a couple more home runs. And we had opportunities, just couldn't capitalize on them. So in the end, it's kind of the story of our season, really. The other team hit home runs. We didn't hit any, or haven't hit many. And, we left a lot of runners on base. Ultimately, the better team won.
Yesterday, South Carolina left 10 runners on base. Florida left 8 runners on base. But again, you had a golden opportunity right out of the gate to put pressure on Florida. As you said, maybe to get your guys invested and ready to go. They're not able to do it, and then Florida just grabs the lead in the second inning. They go up 3-1. They would tack on 2 more in the third, and really before you could blink, it was 5-1. And I think anybody, I hate to say it, you've been a part of teams that are ready to go home and ready to call a season, and it felt like after that third inning when Florida went up 5-1 that it was ball game. That was it. And that whether you were a fan, whether you were a player, maybe even a coach, it felt like you were just like, that's it. I'm good. All right. How many more innings? 6 more? Got it. All right. Let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah, man. That's the way it goes. When you're a part of bad teams, surprise, surprise, you don't want to continue to be a part of a bad team, whether that means you are just finishing this experience or whether you're going to take that experience somewhere else. That's kind of what happens. You can play as hard as you want, but there's levels that you can get to. And just the human nature, the human experience, these people aren't robots. They're not superhumans. The natural progression of things is, if this is going bad, there's nothing else to play for after this. Probably hasn't been a very pleasant experience all year. Let's go home.
And now South Carolina will come home, and the question will be, what happens with the baseball program? And I think all the questions are on the table. John Whittle kind of reporting last night he does not foresee a change at the top But obviously, Jeremiah Donati, this is where we're going to learn a little bit about him. I'm not a believer. I will say I'm not a believer, no matter how bad the season is, in getting rid of the head coach after 1 year. You wouldn't have gotten rid of Lou Holtz after 0-11, a guy who, again, has a track record similar to Paul Mainieri in terms of what they had done previously, and what Holtz had been out of coaching at Notre Dame for, 2 years? Do you remember exactly?
I think it was 3 years.
Yeah.
It seemed like a long time.
Two or three, yeah. And obviously had left because of, I think, health concerns because of his wife. Paul Mainieri left because of health concerns for himself. And Lou Holtz comes back and goes 0-11, but then is able to turn it around. Paul Mainieri obviously goes and look, and South Carolina doesn't have a storied football history, but let's be honest, 0-11 was absolute rock bottom. Paul Mainieri has managed to do the same thing by accumulating the most losses in the history of South Carolina baseball in a singular season. And so, with that being said, I don't believe in firing a guy like that after 1 year, but obviously there has to be drastic changes to be made, and for Lou Holtz, some of it was just getting healthy players in and getting better players in.
It was changing the culture. That was the whole concept, or the whole phrase was changing the culture. But that culture was coming off of 1-10 when he took over the team.
Very true.
This Paul Mainieri team was not coming off of that. They were coming off of regional. This team absolutely regressed. So as that team went backwards from 1 to 0 wins, this team went from regional to not in the playoffs. So there was a larger sample size as far as how that team particularly went. And so, yeah, I understand that concept of give them time, but there's also a business axiom of if it will be done eventually, it must be done immediately. So if this is going to happen, like if there's going to be a thing that happens next year where he doesn't reach a certain level, is this a 2-year project now? Is this a 3-year project?
That's it. It's a 2. You're right. That's exactly what it is. It used to be a 4, and that's been cut in half, in my opinion, in most sports. Look, Lamont Paris is entering a monster season for him.
100%.
A monster season.
Well, the only reason Lamont Paris got the leeway that he got this year, in my opinion, was because of the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a previous year. He bounced back after the first off year, but there's a lot of different circumstances. I would say this circumstances, if you were to make the argument that they should change direction, I think you would be fair in that. If you make the argument that they need to stay the course, that's fair in that. My question is, what is the course? What evidence have we had this year that this particular coaching staff has the ability currently, not in the past, in this particular situation, that they have the ability to get things going?
Let's get out to the phone lines. Marv wants to weigh in on Paul Mainieri. Marv, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Hey, good morning, guys. Real quick, that last clip you played, I've been kind of declining on the Paul Mainieri train, wanting to get off for a while, but I thought, yeah, they need to give him another year. But after that last clip, I've gone back in my mind. Can y'all think of one clip where he calls out the coaching staff and their ineptitude? It's always the players. It's nothing that the coaches have done. It's always the players. He doesn't even say, hey, we could have done a better job at doing this. We put the wrong pitchers in here. We asked them to do too much in this hitting situation. There's a disconnect, and the man has no personality besides I'm a grandpa and I really don't want to be here. And I'll just hang up and I'll listen. Sorry for the rant. Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you as well.
I like that.
I would be lying if I said I haven't noticed that. And it occurred about mid-season when he all of a sudden started saying, oh, I didn't realize how tough the SEC was. Oh, I didn't realize that everybody had power arms and pitchers. And it was kind of an eye-opening experience for him. And I'd be lying if I have not noticed that more often than not. I mean, I think it was the Oklahoma series. If it wasn't the Oklahoma, it was right after that, Preston. You and I were listening, and he made a subtle comment. We just have to recruit our way out of this, was his, I think, almost exact line. And you and I made a subtle notice of that. And since then, I don't know if I don't think it's been over-the-top criticism, but he has, in a way, made it known that, we don't have the horses to win in this league right now. And whether that's true or not, I'm not Jamie Bradford says that some of these guys are likely to enter the portal, and you're going to be surprised where they end up going. He said that on Monday. Again, you brought in some solid players in Nathan Hall. Nolan Naraki has been out. I don't know if this is all in the pitching staff. I looked again. Preston, yesterday they gave up 4 runs in the 8th. And we talked about that ERA. I'd be fascinated. Against Florida earlier this year, we played the clip yesterday going into the Florida game. But Paul Mainieri said, well, that first, was it the first or second, whatever, the Florida game, he goes, it was a close game and it kind of got away from us. Well, they did give up 11 runs in the ninth.
Kind of got away.
I mean, the eighth, and you think back even to the Clemson series, they're in the games to win it in the eighth and ninth, and just, I don't know if that's lack of knowledge of who to use in those innings. I don't know if that's lack of talent. I don't know if that's lack of confidence. Who knows? Well, people out there probably know better than I do. But that was clearly a major issue this year. And you're right. There's a lot of people who have questioned. Preston said it earlier. There's a lot of people who haven't just questioned the pitching ability, but they've questioned the use of the pitchers this season.
Yeah, I think that's the question. A lot of people that are in the know have questioned how they're using the pitchers, when they're putting them in, when they're taking them out, when they're doing mound visits, all of these types of things that doesn't seem to be a cohesive strategy. Now, of course, it's very difficult to have a cohesive strategy when you're getting the ball knocked out of the park every time you attempt to throw a pitch. Yes, I understand that, and I'm always only speaking from a football perspective. It's very difficult to call your best plays when you know your best plays are not going to work. So I get that, and you just feel limited. I understand that. The question is, what are you doing with the talent that you have? Have you maximized the level of talent that you have? Are you saying that the best your coaching ability can get to is 24 runs, 23 runs, 17 runs, multiple grand slams in the inning? I find that hard to believe. I won't accept that from you. Hopefully you won't accept that from yourself. So they have to look in the mirror, as Marv said, and look at themselves and say, what am I willing to do as a coach to improve myself so that this does not happen again next year?
Well, and a little bit to Marv's point, did they convince themselves, did that coaching staff convince themselves that the problem was not them, that it's the talent? Because Marv points it out, and you and I have heard this, that we've kind of noticed subtle comments throughout the season where Paul Mainieri has kind of hinted it's more the players. So are they just absolutely convinced that their way is the way, and their way just wasn't met with the players they need for the way, which is a bad way to put it.
I'm going to be honest. That's a loser's mentality.
That's fine. I'm with you.
I will say that very sternly. That is a loser's mentality. I come from two worlds, coaching and teaching. If I'm a teacher and I go into my class and say, oh, kids just didn't learn. I guess these stupid kids won't learn. I'm not doing my job. Yes.
I told him well.
Yeah, you can't do that. If I'm looking at these kids and I realize, hey, we might be some deficiencies in here, it's my job to figure out how can I get them up. Even if little Billy Gunther will never make an A+, I can get him to a C. And that might be my victory for the year. That is a loser mentality to just say, oh, well, we don't have the horses. What are you getting paid for then if that's all you're going to fall back on?
Yeah, it's there has been a disconnect. I don't think it is 100% guaranteed that Paul Mainieri is back. I think that is a conversation he has to sit down with Jeremiah Donati and have. And we'll get you some more audio of that because he did mention next season and how he is not discouraged, and we'll play more of that. But we come back, we'll get into a little bit of NBA playoffs for Preston Thorne. It was a blowout last night, but tonight the New York Knicks play and the Indiana Pacers. Patrick Ewing, Latrell Sprewell, Reggie Miller,
basking it.
Mark Jackson at point guard, Rick Smits,
the Duncan Dutchman,
Antoine Davis, Dale Davis.
Davis brothers.
803-404-6100 is the early game. Bill Gunner for First Palmetto Bank and the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder. I tell you what, working as a mortgage banker for just over 20 years, Jacob has experience helping his clients with all of their mortgage needs. Trust me, he did this for me precisely about 5 years ago, helped put me in the condo on Lake Murray and helped me get a great interest rate. And that's what you need to do, whether you are looking to buy, build, or refinance, Jacob Crowder is the man to call. So don't wait. Give him a phone call today, 803-719-1005. First Palmetto Bank is locally owned and operated right here in the Midlands. And what that means is that Jacob has local decision makers, which means quick and precise underwriting. So if you're looking to make a move today, if you're looking to buy, build, or refinance, give him a phone call, 803-719-1005. Check out what the interest rates are and what is available to you. 803-719-1005. Call Jacob Crowder today. Tell him Bill Gunner sent you.
Awesome news. And the fact that no other earlier accidents have been cleared is what I'm trying to say. So nothing new on the board at this time. Great in that respect. As things clear out, it's going to be a little bit windy today. 91 for the high, 87 tomorrow, 81 on Friday. But mix of clouds and sun right now. 73, kind of humid out there. Not a fabulous hair day, ladies. On 107.5 The Game.
New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. Say go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go. Say go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go. We're back on track on the floor, scoring more. It's 94, and the Knicks are hardcore. And I'll tell you like this, we ain't never looked sharper. With Hubert, Bonner, Greg, and Harper, it's the Knicks, and we're back on pace. Everyone's gearing up for the championship race, and the fans are going crazy, and they're doing it for a reason. Cause 94 is the Knickerbocker season. You better believe the Knicks got all that it takes. We're shooting 3-pointers.
That's right, y'all. Let the 90s just wash over you.
Then bam! You ain't done.
Damn!
This is a team you don't want to.
The Knicks versus the Pacers, Bill. The 90s are back. We have a playoff series with all the nostalgia that you want. All the names that you just brought up. Reggie Miller, Patrick Ewing, Spike Lee, Dale Davis, Rick Schmitz, Larry Bird, Mark Jackson, who played for both teams. This is a classic NBA playoff series. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Just some things. This does have history. Reggie Miller likened it to the Hatfield versus McCoy feud.
Don't like each other.
Got a little bit aggressive there, and said in 1980 it was as combustible as any. The rivalry was as combustible as any in the league.
If you remember that it was one of the biggest rivalries between two teams who were just fighting for the right to lose to Michael Jordan. That's the only thing they were like, hey, one of us is going to win this series, and then we're going to go lose to Jordan. And that was the whole point of the Eastern Conference Finals back in the 90s. Like, neither one of us is going to win the championship because the GOAT is right there. But while we have to fight it, so you had the Reggie Miller game. Remember, he throws up the infamous choke sign to Spike Lee. He scores the 9 points in 8 seconds or whatever it was. Patrick Ewing misses the finger roll in the lane. Larry Johnson with the 4-pointer. All those things happened during this series, and they're back. More surprising is that most people would not think that the Pacers are any good. You'd be like, Pacers, good? How'd that happen? Well, they were good, and they were good last year. These teams met last year, and they went into a 7-game series. So not only is it an old rivalry, it's a new rivalry also because last year the Pacers eliminated the Knicks. But here's the issue, Bill. We talked about this concept of styles make fights. Well, the Pacers are the third fastest team in the NBA. They like to run the ball up and down the court. Tyrese Halliburton is the quote-unquote point guard, a newest style point guard. He shoots, he distributes, shoot a lot of threes. They get up and down the court. Rick Carlisle, by the way, as the coach. Mm-hmm. The Knicks are the third slowest team in the NBA. Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, Mr. Defense.
Jalen Brunson pounds the ball. A lot of booty ball with Jalen Brunson. He's going to back it down. He's going to take a lot of up and unders. You got Karl Anthony Towns flailing all over the court. Is Karl Anthony Towns big man or tall man?
Tall man.
Prototypical tall man, right?
Tall man.
He wants no parts of the paint. He does not want any part of that.
He goes in there because he's like Tom Thibodeau, basically. Like, you get to shoot threes.
You won't shoot any more threes unless you get a couple of boards. So you got Cat. This is going to be a very fun series. I don't know how close the games are going to be, but you're going to have two crowds that are going to be fired up. Obviously, you're going to have field house in Indiana because I feel like if you have a stadium in Indiana, it has to be a field house, right?
Is that how it works?
Some field house in Indiana, they'll be playing, and so this is going to be a lot of fun. So game one tonight, the Knicks versus the Pacers. I'm gonna go with Pacers. Get the first one.
Go with Pacers.
Yeah.
I think I kind of go with the defensive team.
Okay.
I think I go with Thibodeau in this game, Tom Thibodeau. And I do think that the Knicks are kind of playing well. Like, they probably could have easily blown that series to the Celtics, I feel like. I mean, that was
it was on the table.
We kind of discussed that. I feel like they could have easily blown that series. For the record tonight, New York is a 4.5-point favorite. You mentioned it, high scoring, or one of the highest scoring teams against one of the best defensive teams. Over under for that is set at 223.5. Mm-hmm. So still a lot. That is actually more points. That is actually more points than what the over under for Oklahoma City, Minnesota is set at tomorrow night.
Okay.
So you've actually Vegas considers this more of the scoring series than Minnesota OKC.
Well, that's because the Pacers play at an extremely fast pace. The question is going to be whether or not the Knicks can keep up with that. Jalen Brunson has been incredible. And if you're like, I don't know what's going on, if you're looking for somebody to cheer for, Jalen Brunson would not be a bad guy to get behind. A second-round draft pick, he goes to the Mavericks. The Mavericks basically say, yeah, you don't think you're worth that much money. The Knicks signed him to a contract which, by the way, when he signed for $100 million, bad call, New York. I don't think you should sign a 6'1" point guard to that much money. And he's been on point. He's proven it over and over again. And I think the thing with Jalen Brunson is there just something to being a winner? Because this dude has won at every single level that he plays at, whether you're talking about college, whether you're talking about now.
A great.
Those are two great examples
Of just winners.
Those are
Connor
two
Shaw
great
won in
examples.
high school. And you talked about this. You've talked about this. Ryan Helinski was considered a big-time football recruit, but he went 5 and 6 in high school. Cutter Woods was a 3-star recruit, but has won state championships and is a winner. And there's something to that. And you can translate that to basketball in a lot of ways.
I think you translate that to basketball in a lot of ways. Jalen Brunson, not a guy, not a 5-star guy, not a top 100 dude, a low-level recruit, and he wins on several different levels, right? So he wins in college. But then to those guys, Tebow, Connor Shaw, they didn't get it done in the league. This guy's taking this skill set and getting it done in the league and getting it done in the NBA. So I think if you're looking for somebody to cheer for, Jalen Brunson might be your guy.
Give me 2 seconds. I'm pretty sure I had a hand in ranking Jalen Brunson. Now you got me wondering, hold on. Let me go back from high school here and see, because he was the number 130 number. I was going to say, I thought I had him ranked pretty high at 24/7 Sports. He was the number 31 overall national player. I mean, he was a 5-star prospect.
Okay.
He was up there.
All right, so he was very good coming out, but again, he's still undersized going into the NBA.
Right, for the NBA,
and undersized guys don't work in the NBA. You can only name maybe 2 dudes in the NBA that have been successful at that level being 6'1". You might have Isaiah Thomas, Allen Iverson. That's about it. If you're 6'1" in the NBA, good luck. It doesn't usually work for you. And this dude has figured out a way how to get it to work with this franchise. So he's sort of taken on the ethos of the New Yorkers. Somehow New Yorkers always feel like underdogs. I don't know how that works, but I don't know how you live in the biggest city in the world and you feel like you're the underdog, but whatever. He's embraced that. They've embraced him, and so it's really fun to watch that fan base. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that goes.
803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in if you want to do so this morning.
New York, go New York, go.
That is a very
And there's a new version of it.
There is a new version of it. That's right. It's not as good. You gotta have that 90s panache.
Absolutely. Yeah. I listened to it. It's like, no.
No, it's not as good.
We'll get back into a little bit of baseball. It looks like a player's parent has spoke out. I'll read you that.
Never good.
I'll read you that tweet when we come back, and
Parents,
we'll
we don't
talk
need you.
talk about some few things. 803-404-6100 is the early game. Bill Gunner from Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Mid-State Roofing has been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry, and it is that proven history that is your assurance that their professionals will get the job done in a safe, pleasing, and most importantly, timely manner for you and your operation. Whether it's your home or your business, keeping your operation dry and running long into the future is the goal, the plan for Mid-State Roofing, and they do that by designing and installing bonded systems with a protective guarantee that'll keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Give them a phone call. 803-356-1919. Again, it's 803-356-1919. Again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mid-State Roofing will take your phone call. You'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee who's ready to help you. Give them a phone call. 803-356-1919. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
I-26 westbound before exit 129, we have the report of a vehicle fire. 2 middle lanes are blocked, so allow for a slowdown there if you're heading back towards the Columbia area. I-26 westbound there at exit 129. Forecast-wise, things looking a little bit better than they did earlier this morning. It's going to be clearing out. Windy today, 91 for the high, overnight low of 63. 87 for your high on Thursday, 81 for your Friday. As we get into Memorial Day weekend, going to be in the low to mid 80s for the weekend. And by Monday, scattered thunderstorms and a high of 86. Right now, though, 73 and overcast on 107.5 The Game.
$7:35 on a Wednesday morning, May the 21st. As we talk a little NBA playoffs, we've started to dissect the baseball season now that it has come to a conclusion. And a lot to kind of dissect. All right, where did everything go wrong? What seems to be the issue? And then how do we go about fixing all the issues? And then there's going to be roster. What does the roster look like? Jamie Bradford on Monday, Preston, alluded to the fact that there could be mass transfers at the end of the season. Maybe that's good. I mean, when you go below 500, maybe you need to get those guys out of there. You've also had the situation where Paul Maneri has kind of treaded into the fact that they just don't have the players to compete in the SEC. Clearly, they got the players to compete against Quad 3 and Quad 4 teams. Mm-hmm. That's not who you're trying to compete against. Mm-hmm. You're trying to win games in the SEC. It appears we have our first transfer via a social media
Bill, I thought
post.
You said the portal doesn't open until June 2nd.
Oh, baby, the portal is open. the portal is open. It's like 7-Eleven, man. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is wide open. You can jump in at any time. You just can't officially put your name. I mean, was it, and I don't remember the player's name, but it was a player like last year, 2 years ago for the Citadel who put his name in the portal and continued to play for the Citadel.
Oh yeah, that's. I'm gonna tell you what's not gonna happen. I'll tell you what we're not gonna do. You're not gonna get in the portal and keep playing.
Remember, who was the linebacker this year that basically, I think wanted a red shirt for South Carolina? He's now transferred to Bengali Kamara, who basically I think Shane Beamer was like, well, we need you to play, and he's like, yeah, I need a red shirt. And there was a meeting of the minds, and about mid-October, Bengali Kamara entered the transfer portal, despite the fact transfer portal is trying to take a little break. It's trying to have a cup of coffee and relax for a minute. So you can always enter the transfer portal. That portal is wide open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You just can't officially put your name in until June 2nd, and I don't know how that works. I don't know if there's something around the facility, I think you just throw your name in there or you go on the computer or whatever. Roman Kimball this year pitched and just had 8 appearances, pitched just 6 innings. Gave up 9 hits, 11 runs, 11 earned runs, walked 11, struck out 7, gave up 2 doubles and 3 home runs. ERA of 16.5. Take that for all what it's worth. Roman Kimball, again, just 8 appearances. However, his father has gone on social media. This was midnight last night. Might have been beverages involved when I read this to you. This is Roman Kimball's father. It is with a heavy heart that we bid farewell to Gamecock Baseball. It has been an honor to be part of the family. I only wish this year was as successful as the previous 2, but that's what happens when coaches who do not know how, all caps on how, to coach and just yell at and berate players all season are put in charge. While I hope the team eventually turns it around, unfortunately, it won't be soon with these 2 morons in charge forever to thee. I'm going to assume that means Roman Kimball is entering the transfer portal, and also brings the question of parents maybe laying off of both the sauce and social media when you're not pleased with the coaching staff.
Don't do it. Don't hit send. That's why again, I keep telling everybody, this is why you have group chats. You got the parent group chat. Put it in there. You do not need to put it on social media. You don't need to do that. It's obviously you're getting in the way. And guess what? You're not the star of the show here. But we've kind of made you the star of the show. But 12 o'clock, it's probably nothing good going on social media past 12 o'clock, especially when you're posting. So that's just a hint. You know, they used to tell us, hey, after 2 o'clock, it's probably nothing good happening in the streets. Well, I'm going to tell you here. This is from Uncle Preston. After 12, probably nothing good going to be posted by you or seen by you on social media. So please lay off. But yeah, okay, cool. I don't know what else to say.
Let me go back to this, because part of this is the story now that we see where parents are, if it feels like maybe with social media, because I can't remember Brandon McElwain's mother, but she was very critical of Kurt Roper and would go on social media and express her displeasure.
She might have been right.
Well, but she was very, very vocal on social media about her son and everything that would happen, and a lot of people took notice of that.
Well, listen, this is the generation that we're in. We talk about the kids doing all these things on social media, and here we are, the adults, taking adult conversations. If you want to have that conversation with them, cool. If you want to have it with your neighbor, cool. You don't need to put business outside in the streets, regardless of how you feel. Now, whether or not it was successful or not, that's great, because now you have the transfer portal and you can just leave, let bygones be bygones, move on. You don't have to do that. This is not very different. Parents feeling that they have to overstep their boundaries and being what they like to call lawnmower parents, where you take all the obstacles out of the way for your child. You're not the star of the show here. This is your child's story. Now, if Roman wants to post that, I'd advise him against it, but he can. But you as the parent, move out the way.
It's not your place to do it.
It's not your place. Move out the way. That's their business. So,
and we kind of talked about it. There was an opportunity for both sides in football, Nick Ebenworry and Shane Beamer, to kind of explode, because what happened in the bowl game was ugly, but they came together. And now, granted, a little different situation. Nick Ebenworry was going pro, was going to make a lot of money, and Shane Beamer, it was in his best interest to have a pro. It's in his best interest to have a pro around the program to say, look at what we did with this guy, and this is how he can help our program moving forward. But I'm with you. In this situation, you see parents getting involved. It never goes well. Look at what happened with Nico from Tennessee. Look at what happened with, you can go to a bunch of
John Halliburton.
Yes, a professional.
It's the same thing. It's the same parents feeling like they're part of the game. You're not. You are not part of the game. Back away, protect your child. If you feel like something needs to be done,
protect your child in private.
Yes.
And this is also a little bit of a parenting discussion for parents out there of younger kids who
100%,
are watching their kids play Little League or Pee Wee and growing up. There's no need to address this.
No different than yesterday with the coach saying to check the bursts. Everybody feels like they're stepping out of place. If you feel that these coaches have not done a good job or done a disservice to this student athlete, who they see as a student athlete, obviously you see it as your child. Thankfully, now we have the transfer portal where you can move. Let me tell you about back in my day. Do I need to repeat some of the things that Lou Holtz said to me? And we lionized that time period. Can I get on here and say some of the things that I heard Lou Holtz say to myself and some of my teammates? Well, and we all talk about, the turnaround, it was great. You think that was all rainbows and cookies? It was not. It was a lot of harsh words that things had to happen, Mr. Kimball. So, and I'm not taking anybody's side. I'm just saying, hey, the coaching level at the college is maybe different than what's happening at travel ball or AAU or even high school ball. And I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm just saying I still sometimes get upset at some of the words that Lou Holtz said to me during that time period. I'm sure if you ask any of my teammates from that time, it was not sugar plums and roses.
We could do a whole 3 hours. We could do a whole week with defensive linemen dealing with Lou Holtz and then Brad Lawing.
Yeah, I'm sure Brad Lawing was very...
I sat in front of... That was when practices were open. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Dr. Dan Balknight and the Men's Clinic. Listen, fellas, as we get older, we tend to focus on a lot of different things. One of them does not seem to be our health, and you don't need to be doing that because as we age, our health starts to change, and it's not always for the better. And if you're noticing some different symptoms like brain fog, you're forgetting things from time to time, maybe you're noticing you're not recovering from workouts quite like you used to, maybe you're noticing some other issues that you're having, and all it could be is low T or low testosterone. You just need to give the Men's Clinic a call today and line up an appointment with Dr. Dan Balknight. The key there is that they want to give you a safe, comfortable place where you can speak about your health issues and not be judged. Also, they want to give you an individualized treatment plan. There's nothing generic about you, so why are you settling for general medical care? Call today and line up an appointment. 803-875-MENS. Again, that's 803-875-MENS. Or you can visit them on the web, themensclinicsc.com. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. Let me tell you, when it comes to HVAC replacements, AAA Heating and Air is the go-to name in the Midlands with guaranteed financing, no payments or interest for 12 months, and a 15-year parts and labor warranty. It is absolutely no wonder why they are the best in the business. Trust me, I used AAA Heating and Air about 2 years ago to install a brand new heating and air unit at my house, and it has worked absolutely phenomenal. I'm telling you, it kept us nice and warm during the winter. It keeps the house nice and cool on these 90-degree days during the summer. And, you know, it's going to get a little bit hotter, too, closer to 100. So call AAA Heating and Air if you need a brand new heating and air unit. Trust me when I say they are the go-to name. I loved having them out at my house. They were professional. They explained how it would help save money, and that's exactly what it's done. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. Again, that's 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. See, our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name. You want to go where people know people are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
Just
what a banger.
Kind of washes over you and you feel good, huh? Just enjoyable.
It's a great song. It's one of the best. And it leads to my question. What other TV theme songs do you know by heart? 803-404-6100. What other TV theme songs do you know by heart? I started going over a list of theme songs.
By heart? You mean like you can just sing them?
You can just sing them off top.
Yeah.
I embarrassingly know several. So I want to know what are some of the TV theme songs you know by heart, because the TV theme song is a thing of the past. It's a relic of the past. We don't have many of them as we used to. If you're watching TV, you've probably skipped the intro if you're watching a show on one of your streaming devices. The TV theme song was get you primed and ready to watch whatever show that you were watching. You might hear the theme song from the other room. You come in there, you know what's happening. So the question is 803-404-6100. What TV theme songs do you know by heart?
Now, with or without lyrics? Like, could you hum the thing, or are you talking more with the lyrics?
I would say lyrics to hum. Like, maybe you can karaoke it, like get away with it at least.
You know some of the lyrics.
Yeah, you know enough of the lyrics to get away with it.
Because I think kind of like with Cheers, for me, even though 93 was the last episode, everybody knows your name. Kind of was it you want to be where everybody knows your name? I can get that. And so, but if you kind of put the karaoke in front of me, I can nail the rest.
Yeah, you can nail the rest. You know the harmony, you know the lyrics. You can get there. Do you have any suggestions? I have a couple that I know off top by heart.
Well, Jen and I think both. I think Friends.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely got Friends by heart. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's a solid one. I would go with Golden Girls.
Yeah.
Somebody said that's one of the most underrated.
Oh, it's not underrated. It's not underrated. It's at the top. Unless you saying that it's not number one, then that's the only way you might have it underrated. But Golden Girls, classic, 100% great theme song.
Yeah, and that it actually was on the charts. Andrew Gold is the one who sang that, and that actually made it up the charts a little ways. And that's when it's interesting when you do have a theme song that actually does make it. But
does Big Bang Theory count? Because that's actually I really don't know what came first. Was that written for Big Bang Theory, the Bare Naked Ladies, or was it written Or is it used because I don't know the background on that.
Yeah, I don't.
But I do know that one. If that counts, I can
Okay.
get that one
Yeah.
too.
All right, that's a solid one. That's one that, and it does help if a show is in syndication when you can hear it over and over and over and over again.
I want to say I don't remember it now, but I feel like the "Mad About You" song was another one.
Paul Reiser, Helen Hunt, solid.
Yeah, I didn't.
Again, another
I
Thursday
like that
night.
show. I like it.
Oh, I did too.
Another Thursday night NBC show that was on that Thursday night lineup was Mad About You. So this is if you're in the car and you're like, there used to be times where TV shows came on at a certain time and people used to watch them yes, kids.
There's appointment television.
Yes, kids.
I couldn't
Must
honestly.
see TV. There was a thing.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you a particular night a show comes on. Do they even have Thursday night appointment television? Because
I mean, you just kind of know, but like they used to be the big deal where it's like the Friday night, whatever.
Friday night lineup, the Monday night lineup, the Thursday
Yeah.
night lineup. So yeah, 803-404-6100. What
Step
TV
by
shows?
step.
Step by step.
Douglas
Family
goes.
Guy.
Hold on, Douglas goes with Fresh Prince.
Oh, yeah.
Well, West Philadelphia, born and raised.
I got Family Matters, Full
It's
House,
a rare condition in this day and age.
Jefferson's and Crosby Show.
Well, we're moving on up.
Yep, that's what Sammy weighs in. Missed the first hour. He says, y'all need to look up the full Cheers theme song. I think it's Gary Portnoy. It's pretty surprising, kind of dark. Well, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
The actual In Living Color from Teddy.
You can do what you want to do.
The Greatest American Hero and the Dukes of Hazzard. Dukes of Hazzard,
Believe it or
probably.
not, I'm walking on air.
That's a good one.
So keep sending them in. 803-404-6100. The reason we're doing it, George went. Norm passing today.
Norm.
And we'll get back into some Dub Bears. Hour 3 on the way. Bill Gunner for Corley Pool Solutions, where for over 20 years, Tracy Corley has been maintaining pools right here in the Midlands, and there's a reason he's done it for 20 years, because he's the absolute best in the business. You just need to give him a phone call and line up your maintenance today. Look, the school season is done. Your kids are home. They want to jump in that backyard pool, but if you've got algae, if you've got issues, there's only one person you can turn to who knows exactly how to get them fixed, and that is Tracy Corley. Call him today. Schedule your maintenance. 803-445-8109. Now, I know what you're thinking. I can do it myself. No, you can't. Not only can you not, Tracy Corley is more affordable than you trying to do it yourself. With flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals, you know precisely what you are paying for. You know exactly what the monthly bill is going to be. So call today and line up your appointment. 803-445-8109. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
We have a report of a vehicle fire, I-26 westbound before exit 129. A couple lanes are blocked there. Also a fallen tree, Fernandina Road at Piney Grove Road. An accident, I-20 eastbound after Highway 1. That would be exit 58. And Highway 378 at I-26. Also a report of a slowdown. 91 for the high today with some windy conditions coming in. Tomorrow, a little bit windy at times, 87 for the high, and 81 for Friday. Right now, 73 on 107.5 The Game.
$8 a.m. as we roll along here talking South Carolina baseball. We've talked a little NBA playoffs this morning. We'll get into a little football as well, some college football. We'll get more into that a little bit tomorrow. Some lists coming out. A couple people weighing in. We've also kind of honoring George Wendt as we were laughing here. Passes. Well, we weren't laughing. We were laughing at the fact he was 76. But on this time on Cheers, he looks like he's in his 50s. He looks like a business guy showing up for a beverage, and it turns out he was only about 36 at that time.
Yeah, well, 36 and 82 was a different.
You looked a little.
It was a different time for sure. It's called growing up.
So we are kind of honoring him this morning, and the show Cheers. We've played that theme song a little bit, and then that led Preston to asking you, your what is your most memorable theme song?
Theme songs you know by heart.
Theme song. Sammy weighs in. I'm going to go with Sammy as our age. Yeah, maybe all right, because Sammy leads off with Saved by the Bell.
When I wake up in the morning, the alarm gets on and on, and I don't think they'll ever make it on time. By the time I grab my books and I give myself a
Saved by the Bell.
Of course. That's easy. That's a wrap.
Can we replace one of my stupid openers with that? Can we please do that?
We could, yeah. I could,
the one where I can't pronounce.
I even could
Pulmonary would be very nice for us to flip that one.
I can even go second verse on that one. What's next?
He also goes with Jefferson's Different Strokes.
Moving on up. Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. What might be right for you may not be right for some. A man is born. It's a great song.
He's a man of steel.
It's a great song.
No words.
Facts of life.
Mm-hmm.
No words, but one that we've been playing on this program for a special segment, 90210.
Great theme. Great theme. You hear that? Them things. Dun, 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 dun. You know some drama's going down.
A couple people have weighed in on The Sopranos this morning.
Got yourself a gun.
Got a Happy Days on the phone line.
The Happy Days.
Happy Days is, for some reason, I was really into Happy Days. I don't know whether it's just because of syndication or what it was playing, but I watched a lot of Happy Days. Strangely enough, I'm not sure what was going on with me at that time period, but yeah.
Kind of, and maybe we can kind of think, would Bill be Potsy? Like,
I watched a lot of it. And then, they do those, if we were talking about this time now, where it's like Happy Days, if we were to film Happy Days now, we would only be talking about the 90s. Instead of
what I was about to tell you is Happy Days first aired in 1974. So if you're watching it in 94, it was 20 years old. Mm-hmm. It was 20 years old, and let's say you were 12 or 14. That's almost the equivalent of like a 15-year-old watching. This is going to be sad. Friends. That's almost the equivalent of watching Friends and being like, oh, this old show. But man, this old show is funny, and you and I are like, no, we grew up on this show. I'd prefer you not call it old. Like I still watch Friends.
Yeah, it's not a classic.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah. So keep sending those in this morning as we have discussed that. Also, our most important things of the day. Baseball season has wrapped up. It has come to a conclusion.
Mercifully. Thankfully.
That was a slow grind. And you start to really look at the numbers, Preston, And I think sometimes it's one of those things, especially for South Carolina baseball, it's a historical season, and not in the good way of historical. It was the most losses ever for South Carolina baseball at 29. It was the most losses ever. Now, mind you, this is, I think, the difference between Preston and I. Earlier in the 6 o'clock hour when Preston did this, he said it was the least amount of wins. 6. I'm going with losses. The most losses ever in SEC play at 24. The highest team ERA in the history of South Carolina baseball. I'm sure this has got to be up there, and probably something nobody's even looked at, and it's just something that we've kind of stumbled into this morning. I'm sure it's the most games in which South Carolina has ever given up double-digit runs. I don't know if South Carolina's ever had a season where they had 2 games of giving up 20 runs.
Well, we don't have the specific numbers, but from Alan Cole on Twitter, and he does a great job of following them, the final SEC run differential was minus 157. So that was what the numbers were in the SEC, minus 157.
Rough.
Run differential. That means, for those that may not know, that's an old analytic, but let me explain. That means the opponent scored 157 more runs than the Gamecocks in SEC play.
Let me pull this up real quick. So 156 in SEC play, 30 games. Okay. So, for example, let's go down here to the Rockies. The Rockies are 8-40. They're rough.
They're not great.
In 48 games, and they're bad, they are minus 153 in run differential.
Just to give you a frame of reference when we start throwing these.
I know it's perfect. I get there's apples to oranges a little bit on that, but in 48 games, the 8-40 Rockies, the absolute worst team in Major League Baseball, was minus 153 in run differential. In 30 games, South Carolina, who was 6-24, was minus 156.
Yeah.
But he is not discouraged. And listen to a lot of things, Preston. Listen to there's about a minute and 50 clip here of him talking about, but I want you to listen to some of the things he says here, and we'll come back and address that. Here's Paul Maneri yesterday after the game talking about being disappointed but not being discouraged.
Yeah, it was a tough year. I'm not used to these kind of seasons, quite frankly, and got off to a rough start when we lost what we thought was going to be our Friday night starter before the season began, and Eli Jersenbeck got hurt in preseason, and then shortly after that, Nolan Naraki, we thought would be our second baseman, and hit a bunch of home runs. It was really never himself, and now he's had knee surgery. And then you look at Thomas LaCroix, who broke his thumb the second inning of the first game of the year, never really swung the bat the way that he could, and then when he hurt his hip, he was out for the year, and then, of course, the last month, without Petrie. So I'm not making excuses. It's just reality. We didn't have the depth to overcome some of those things. I'm an optimist by nature, and I thought, that we would have the, what it took to compete in this league. Obviously, we didn't, the way the season went. But it hasn't, I'm disappointed but not discouraged. We're working really hard in recruiting. We've already lined up some really, really good players for next year through the junior college ranks. We have a few guys in the freshman class the previous staff had recruited that we're real excited about. And then we're anxious for the transfer portal to open on June 2nd. And we're obviously going to need a lot of players there. We've recruited already a really outstanding high school class of 2026. So I think the future is bright for our program. And, like I said, I'm disappointed about this year, but I'm not discouraged about the future. We're just going to keep rolling up our sleeves and working hard at it. And hopefully we're going to be a lot better next year.
All right, let's address a couple things. Number one, he starts with recruiting. The number one team in recruiting right now, LSU. The number 2 team, Tennessee. The number 3 team is Texas. The number 4 team is Arkansas. The number 5 team is Texas A&M. The number 6 team is Vanderbilt. Number 9 is Mississippi State. So 7 of the top 10. And this is just high school. This is not junior college. This is just high school. But 7 of the top 10 are out of the SEC. If you want to take it a step back further, 11 is Oklahoma. 11 is Alabama. 13 is Oklahoma. So that now has you nine of the top 13, Preston.
I mean, that just sounds like the football trope where you could be, have the 12th best recruiting class in the nation and the 9th best in the SEC or something silly like that. So, but what I did not hear us mentioned.
Georgia's at 10, technically in the SEC. Kentucky is at 11, and Kentucky's at 24. Florida is at 26. That'd be 12 in the SEC. Auburn is at 27. That'd be 13th in the SEC. Mississippi would be 14th in the SEC at 33. Missouri is at 42. They'd be 15th in the SEC. Do I have that right so far? Does that seem right?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Okay. By the way, College of Charleston's at 57. This is perfect game. I'm still going. I know where I'm going, too, by the way. Coastal Carolina's at 69. I feel like I've said all the SEC teams, and I left one out of my fingers here. To get to my point on this is high school recruiting. And he said junior college players. Let's be clear. He did say junior college players. South Carolina has 7 high school players committed. 7. So that's part of the problem. But South Carolina sits at 99th in the perfect game top 100 recruiting.
Top 100. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not great. Maybe there's going to be a different strategy. You can obviously say there's JUCO, there's transfer portal, there's other ways. And quite honestly, this staff can't really be looking to high school right now because they need to do it now. They need to do it next year.
Fair.
And there's not a lot of space for development. So maybe that's not what their particular strategy is or was. We don't know. We haven't been privy to that information. We'll figure out what they're trying to do as they move forward because it's not as we were told, and this is not something any of the fans, I'm speaking for the fans here, this is not something any of the fans made up. We were told this was a win now project. This was a short-term thing. This was something that they were happening now. So that doesn't necessarily jive with already pretty low-level recruiting.
Yeah, I mean,
high school recruiting.
You've got, look, there's 2 guys that you've got to recruit on this team. KJ Scobie, I know KJ Scobie and Bo Hollins. I know the other day Gavin Brayland was a guy that Jamie Bradford mentioned as you need to keep him around. You got to recruit your team. You got to recruit the portal. You got to recruit the junior college level. Ray Tanner did a phenomenal job of filling guys. Garris Gauntz coming in, stands out. Adrian Morales coming in from the junior college ranks. Billy, is it Buckner? Somebody help me on that. There was another pitcher South Carolina had to come in that was real good, spent 1 year here. So Ray Tanner was phenomenal at going to the junior college ranks and landing guys that could come in and play. The new junior college ranks are kind of more of the transfer portal. Now you can go out and you can get guys from that. There's no doubt there's going to have to be pitching and hitting a major upgrade in talent on this team to go along with, and this is the key thing, player development.
Absolutely. And that's what we'll be waiting to see what that plan and how that plan shakes out from here moving forward.
803-404-6100. So there was a little bit of pulmonary. You get it. He says he is disappointed in the season but not discouraged. And also, real quick before we go to the break, he mentioned the injuries. And you do have to factor that in. But, Preston, when you hear injuries, you've already said kind of throwing players under the bus and saying, well, we just weren't as talented. That's a loser mentality. How do you take it when a coach does assess the injuries that his team had?
Injuries are a part of the game. Every team deals with injuries. Some years you're more fortunate than others. You're never going to win a championship dealing with injuries, but that's part of the game. That's not something that's new. That's not something that develops. You have to be able to coach your way through that. Things will not be perfect. Coaches always talk about how do we deal with adversity. Well, that's part of the adversity of a season.
803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in if you want to do so this morning as we get you up and going 8:13 on your Wednesday morning. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. Come back. Preston, I'll ask a question to you. Are you in favor of parity? How do you feel about parity now? Or do you like just pure dominance? We'll talk about that. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Lowe's Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison, between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. And look, I know spring is coming to a close, but that doesn't mean the deals are not still in full bloom. You need to get out to Lowe's Chevrolet and check out the 14 acres of brand new Chevrolets. We're talking the absolute best selection of brand new Chevys to go along with the lowest price guaranteed. In fact, they'll beat any competitor's price or give you $1,000. It's called the low price guarantee. Go find out more about it today at Love's Chevrolet. Again, 14 acres of brand new Chevys, exclusive specials on Suburbans, Tahoes, and Silverados. But what always stands out to me is that phenomenal sales staff. Look, they are excited to help you make this next big purchase. They know purchasing a car is a really, really big deal, and they want to make it fun and easy for you. So they're more than willing to walk you around, talk about everything that's in those car, trucks, or SUV, and help you make an informed decision. So visit Love Chevrolet today, and together, let's drive.
I-20 westbound, or I'm sorry, I-26 eastbound. Okay. Take two. Let's try this again. I-26 westbound before exit 129. There's a vehicle fire. A couple of lanes are blocked there. Again, that's I-26 westbound, exit 129. Fallen tree, Fernandina Road at Piney Grove Road, and Highway 378 at I-26. Also a report of an accident there. And the rain should be clearing out of here. 91 will be the high today. Going to be a little bit windy out there. 87 tomorrow, 81 on Friday. Your Memorial Day is looking like 86 with some scattered thunderstorms. Currently 73 on 107.5 The Game.
803-404-6100. Talking some baseball, talking some parody, talking some George Wendt, and cheers. That's our lighter side this morning. That's our lighter side. Cheers. And, the passing, unfortunately, of George Wendt, but all the great memories that he gave us is Norm on Cheers. Several of y'all weighing in. Also, Preston asked you about your TV theme songs. Randall going with Beverly Hillbillies. Another texter going with Brady Bunch.
Oh, yeah.
Daryl giving
Classics.
us Andy Griffith Show and the whistling
Can anybody
theme.
whistle it? It's actually pretty good.
Preston's a one-man band singing a karaoke machine over here.
No kidding.
Lots of water, Andy Griffith Show. Andy Griffith, Matlock. Shout out to my Nana.
We have that. That's pretty much just default in our house. Like, because it's harmless. It's
By the way, Matlock's a
simpler
banger.
days. It
Matlock's
really,
is
and if you think about the health issues that he had to relearn to walk and all that, like to see him have a very successful second career,
great song.
kind of cool. But yeah, good song.
And to get another text in, that 70s show is
Forgot about that.
Charles in Charge.
Oh my gosh, I love Charles.
Charge of our hearts and our lives.
You watched a lot.
I wanted Charles in charge of me. I mean, just saying. Yeah. He was cute.
Cutie patootie, man.
Yep. All the girls loved him. And then Nicole Eggert from that went on to Baywatch.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ask me what I had for breakfast. I have no idea, but I got this info for you.
Yeah, if you could clearly see, there's a tab theme song that's just open in my brain. I don't know what's happening next day, but that is consistently running around in my brain.
Officially, my kids are out of school. I know some schools have two half days, so I think Jim is okay with that comment because I think most kids are either in school or out.
I would have been okay with being
solid.
Okay, no
being
problem.
a kid. Yeah,
all right.
He's my
803-404-6100. Let's get out to Ray on the phone lines there, Jen. Ray wants to talk TV shows and baseball. Ray, how you doing this morning?
Hey, doing good, guys. Yeah, before I get to my sitcom song, just got to talk a little about the baseball program. I guess the word I was thinking to describe the whole situation would be apathetic because that's kind of what happened there. And I remember it was last week you guys were talking about how all of our neighbors have gotten really much better than us, talking about Georgia, North Carolina, Clemson, and upstate. We forgot about Coastal Carolina. I think they're like a top 15 program this year. So, I mean, we're just in third in our own state, so that's kind of tough there. But to get to my song, I might know a couple bars. That's all, and I thought hum the rest of it. But y'all know it when y'all hear it. It's from the 70s. Okay, here we go. Welcome back. Your dreams are your ticket out. Welcome back. Na 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 na. We got him on the spot. Welcome back. Well,
very
solid. My 15 seconds of fame.
Very solid, Ray. We appreciate your participation. That's how you lock in a spot for your phone call when you participate with your full heart and mind. Thank you very much, Ray.
Welcome back, Cotter.
Yeah.
Okay, just make sure.
Mm-hmm.
One thing we continue to learn is my television knowledge and movie knowledge is far inferior. I lack it to Preston and Jen's.
Listen, man, 94 through 96 hockey players and TV theme songs. If you get me in that Jeopardy category, I can do pretty well.
We're gonna have a summer once we get through this baseball transfer portal that could be jam-packed with Gamecock baseball player. We'll see. One thing that's going to be of interest is what the status of Terry Rooney ends up being. Well, at least yesterday, Paul Maneri addressed the situation with Terry Rooney. Here's what he had to say.
No, Terry Rooney is here to stay. He's an outstanding coach, great recruiter, great pitching coach. You do the best you can, and we'll get better. We need to. We had some young kids that I think that showed flashes of being pretty good for us, and we're going to get some kids in recruiting, and we've got a couple freshmen coming in that I think are going to help us. And Terry Rooney is here to stay. He's not going anywhere. He's an outstanding coach, and he'll prove that as we go forward. And there won't be any other changes with our staff.
It's fine. He's the coach. I say this, the coach, he's got to do what he's got to do, what he feels is best. But you got a coach now coming off, a pitching coach coming off of the worst ERA ever in program history.
Yeah, and he has to wear that. He has to take accountability for that. Obviously, he would not be proud of that. He has to look himself in the mirror, go back through his tapes, figure out what he did that did not connect with this group of pitchers. Whatever it was, he has to figure it out. That's your job. The old saying is, you haven't taught until they've learned. So it doesn't matter if you were a good coach or if you are a good coach. As of this present moment, what have you done for me lately? It does not bear out that you are a successful coach at this moment. Go back, retool, figure it out, reflect, recharge, and you're going to have to get back on it because whatever you were doing last year did not work with that group of pitchers.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in this morning. And Preston, that's going to be part of it. You got to get to the transfer portal, and you got to get some arms because the league might take a step back, but the thing with this league is there's actually legitimate parity in this league. It's just upper echelon parity, which South Carolina, we have learned this year is not a part of.
Yeah, so SEC teams are going to win these national championships. I think I was reading the last 5 seasons, SECs have been in the national championship, and 3 of the last 4 world champions were SEC versus SEC. This is happening. This is the neighborhood that you live in. You're going to have to compete. So if we want to keep with the neighbors, you're going to have to keep your lawn up. Everybody else is doing fancy things with their lawn. You better do it too, or else they're going to start looking around at you and say, what are they doing here? Much the same way that we've looked at Missouri in baseball, as far as baseball is concerned, you have to figure things out very quickly because everybody's moving forward fast and we are moving backwards rapidly.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in if you want to do so this morning. And what we'll do is we'll come back. We'll get back into a little bit of this parity discussion. Also discuss a little bit more about some NBA playoffs. The NBA playoffs spilling into WWE, Preston?
Well, much like things, does art imitate life or does life imitate art? This is the question.
Okay, we'll let Preston explain that to you. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It's the early game. Bill Gunner from Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Larry Leitner and the family have been the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And it's that proven history that is your assurance that their professionals will provide proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility, whether it's your business or your home, and they're going to do it in a manner both so safe and pleasing to you and your operation. So how they do that, you ask? Well, they design and install a protective system, a bonded system with a protective guarantee that does keep that operation dry and running long into the future. And they are there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You heard that right. You give them a phone call at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., noon, whenever. They are there for you. You'll speak with an on-call technician after hours or a Mid-State Roofing staff member during hours. So make that phone call, 803-356-1919. Or again, you can visit them on the web, midstateroofing.com, 803-356-1919. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
I-26 westbound around exit 129. 2 middle lanes are blocked due to a vehicle fire. Fernandina Road at Piney Grove Road still getting that cleaned up. A mess from a fallen tree. Highway 378 at I-26, also a report of an accident there. And we're looking for a high today of 91. Going to be a little bit windy as the clouds kind of blow out of here. 87 tomorrow, she says, and 81 on Friday. Really for the weekend, it's going to be low to mid 80s. And then for Memorial Day, a couple scattered thunderstorms possible and a high of 86. Right now, 72.
Brass on steel. And if it comes to brass on Jules, game on. Wait a second.
Jalen Brunson you're going to get. Oh, God.
What do you call this? Is this game 8?
Not tonight. Not in the Garden. Jalen Brunson, man, just interrupted the interference. Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks, but Halliburton of the Pacers still has the brass knucks. Oh, no. Jalen, don't do this. There's no turning back. Jalen Brunson with a steel chair.
Tyrese Halliburton being the bigger man. These people don't deserve it.
Oh, hey, respected Jalen Brunson for stepping up when he had to.
That man was ready to throw down.
Go ahead.
Art imitating life, or life imitating art. That was Tyrese Halliburton and Jalen Brunson, WWE SmackDown last year after Game 7. They met. Tyrese Halliburton had brass knuckles. Jalen Brunson had a steel chair. They met in the middle of the ring. They looked at each other. They talked trash, and they said, we'll meet again. And they are meeting again this year in the Eastern Conference Finals. Knicks versus Pacers, old school series. I'm really interested to see how this goes down tonight. Jalen Brunson, obviously being the heart and soul of the Knicks franchise. People are arguing that he has an opportunity to become the most popular Knick based on what we've said. Tyrese Halliburton being the point guard, very good. Styles, clashing styles. Knicks like to play slow and methodical. Pacers like to play fast, shoot a lot of threes. So if you're interested in styles makes fights in basketball, this is a good series with a little nostalgia thrown on top.
Well, it's just, I'm reading the Yahoo Sports article, and part of it's funny. It says Brunson and Halliburton are due over $300 million combined on their current NBA deals, and the last thing Adam Silver needs is to have two of the faces of his product get hurt by a botched power slam. But I'm laughing because I have said this for a long time, and I get it. The NBA product is different. You got to – there was a period in the 90s. It's funny, Patrick Perret is a huge NBA guy. The younger generation, you and I are kind of on that cusp because we saw Jordan. We caught just enough of Bird and Magic and great NBA, and then we saw Jordan. But there's another generation that like looks at basketball and remembers J.R. Ryder, Latrell Sprewell choking his coach, Stephon Marbury and everything that he was. Just, it was bad. Number one, it was bad basketball. It was missing a face. LeBron was trying to get himself there, but it was missing a face. And then look, a lot of people just remember like 85, 80 games. And so, because I talked to kind of an older generation, they're like, no, basketball was great back in the 80s and the 70s. All that garbage in the 90s and the 2000s. But if you truthfully look at it, this league has got great characters, whether you want to talk about Brunson or Halliburton, you want to talk about, even LeBron. I mean, like, you talk about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant hasn't done anything off the court. It's bad. Mm-hmm. He's a villain just because he's a villain.
Just mercurial. He's unlikable.
He's a modern age villain because he gets on Twitter and he's got a burner account. You got James Harden, he's just an awkward guy. You've got a lot of. Where's the clip? I tell you what, Jim, you've got this. Please play number 7, which is cringeworthy. But this is a clip, number 7. You got this.
AT&T just sent me a heads up on the best plan for me.
That's cool.
They know what a pro wants.
What a pro needs.
Whatever makes me happy.
Sets you free.
And I'm
Thanking you for knowing exactly what a pro wants, what a pro needs. Whatever makes me happy sets me free. Good. A little bit flat. We'll get better.
AT&T provides proactive recommendations so you get what's right for you.
Got that part right there.
Those dudes are going to win the championship.
That's SGA and Chet Holmgren.
They're going to win the championship.
But Preston, I mean, they're making fun of themselves. And if you've seen it, they've got another commercial out where they're all dressed alike.
Yeah, because SGA is the fashion guy. He's really into the fashion. He wears very high fashion things that would look like an alien would walking down if you seen him on Assembly Street, and they're making fun of it. So they are embracing sort of the uniqueness of their characters. Yes, so to your point, yes, there are teams and characters and storylines that are there.
And again, and I go back to this, having Austin, my son, grow up and everything. Do you feel comfortable with your child wearing that player's jersey? Is that player, and this is here comes the other parenting conversation. We did one in the 7 o'clock hour on parents. Don't go on social media and rail at a coach or run on the ball field and yell for birth certificates. But do you feel comfortable with your child wearing that player's jersey? Because if he or she is wearing that jersey, they're looking up to that player, and you want that player to be a good role model. There is a lot of them in the NBA right now that you can not all of them. It's a big league.
Well, if we just took the 4 teams, 3 out of 4 ain't bad.
Right.
Halliburton's cool. Jalen Brunson, awesome. SGA, great. Ant-Man,
we keep trying to like Anthony.
No, because he's likable. He's just has other stuff that's going on with him. But he's actually he's the counter of Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant does nothing wrong, but he's just unlikable.
Right.
Ant-Man is extremely likable.
Just like last night when he threw the ball at the Thunder player early in the game.
It was funny. But he has other issues off the court.
It really is a good product. Now, I get it. Again, the NBA playoff basketball is good because they're like, oh, okay.
Oh, this counts.
We gotta play defense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all right. Which is why you end up seeing these blowouts at times, because teams actually do play defense, and in the fourth quarter they're not just hanging out. But even Jason Tatum is legitimately a good guy. He's a little annoying, a little whiny. Jokic is
my guy,
a fun guy to follow,
fun dude to follow. Giannis can't pick anybody better than Giannis. So the league has done, because what was happening is in that era that you were talking about, the early 2000s.
Allen Iverson.
There was a rougher element in the NBA. That element has changed, and you have all these dudes who are solid guys, role models, whatever you want to call it. And it's waiting for everybody else to get on. The Ant-Man is kind of a throwback to those dudes.
No, there's one. There's one who's a definite throwback, would have fit in. It's an easy one.
Our guy, home state?
Our home state guy.
Yeah, I think that's a whole nother conversation, because while we're having this conversation about all these other stars, the 2 dudes who were supposed to be leading this charge from South Carolina are absent.
Yeah.
That's obviously John Moran and Zion Williamson.
I will say this, going back to the parity question, I can't say that I'm going to exactly be tuned in, but you've got 2 teams in the West from what are labeled as smaller markets, Oklahoma City and Minnesota. And then I think you'd probably throw Indiana in there.
Small market.
Probably, and then you got New York, which for whatever reason,
underdogs.
Well, I hadn't won a championship since '73. I've been trained somehow, some way to believe that New York is some kind of storied franchise that has won multiple championships. And the biggest thing I get is like, hey, remember when who was it? Oh, I should be, but I wasn't alive when this happened. Willis Reed. Limped back out of the. Remember that in the Garden? I'm like, no. I think that was a decade before I was born.
Yeah.
And they're like, you should have been there for that. By the way, also 90s, because I was reading today, Knicks Pacers, John Starks headbutting Reggie Miller.
Oh, yeah, the good old headbutt. All of that was all part of that deal, man. The headbutt, the choke signal.
If John Starks and Reggie Miller did do what Tyrese Halliburton and Jalen Brunson, it wouldn't have been fake. It wouldn't have been fake at all. There would have been eye gouging, fish hooks, and all.
I would say this. You may really enjoy that basketball. These dudes are, and it's not better, but they're way more skilled. Because if you just name those guys, you talking about the Davis brothers. Their only job was just to sharpen their elbows and set picks for Reggie Miller.
Foul somebody.
That's all their job was. Duncan Dutchman had a little bit of game in the post, but those Knick teams, Oakley, Starks, we're not talking skilled basketball players. We're just talking brutes. And it was fun to watch. And these guys are skilled, and maybe it's not as fun, but there are a lot of reasons to tune in if that's what you want to do.
There is a connection, by the way, a South Carolina connection for the Pacers. Aaron Naismith is, and I remember his recruitment. Looked like he was going to come to South Carolina. He was a high academic kid from Porter-Gaud down in Charleston and went to Vanderbilt and fell in love with it. I remember talking with Frank Martin about it when it occurred. They were caught off guard. They thought they had him kind of locked up. The AAU program that he went to, I wouldn't say was pro South Carolina, but the AAU program that he had been at had produced Bruce Ellington and R.J. Slauson and the other gatherers, but I think it was Clifton that came and never really had the knee injury. They thought they had Aaron Naismith locked up, and he ended up going to Vanderbilt just academically and fell in love with everything and ended up going there. But he is starting in this playoff, so you do have a South Carolina connection there.
Yeah, and from what I've read, he'll be tasked with Jalen Brunson for a majority of the series.
So some NBA talk there. We'll come back. We will wrap it all up. Cheers talk, theme talk, also a little baseball talk when we come back. It is the early game.
Hey, Columbia, are you looking for the best gear to tackle your lawn? Well, Cato's Power Equipment has been family-owned and serving the Midlands since 1983. That's right. That's over 40 years. And third-generation owner Ben Cato provides top-notch service, great deals, and the mom-and-pop values that you love. Ben is determined to raise the standard of sales, service, and retail. At Cato's, they are proud to offer a wide selection of new and pre-owned mowers, tractors, and more. Ready to invest in something new? Well, the friendly team is there to make the process easy, help you choose the right equipment, find financing options, and keep your gear running strong. So whether you're a weekend warrior or a seasoned landscaping pro, Cato's has you covered. So swing by Cato's Power Equipment today or call them at 803-254-3711. That's Cato's Power Equipment at 803-254-3711.
Bill Gunner for the Ecton Law Firm. Have you received one of those mean, nasty notices from the IRS? Are they after you? Are they after your business? Are they after your personal taxes? Well, if so, it's time for you to call John Ecton and his team. 803-771-9800. At the Ecton Law Firm, they have a local team dedicated to resolving your income or business tax issues for good, and they're ready to help you. But to do that, you need to call today. Time is of the essence, and you need to schedule your free consultation to see what the Ecton Law Firm can do for you. 803-771-9800. For more information, you can visit them on the web. It is ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. But you need to make these tax worries a thing of your past. And by doing that, you need to call the Ecton Law Firm. Again, 803-771-9800. Give them a phone call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name. You want to go where people know people are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
We have been playing the Cheers theme song this morning in honor of George Wendt. Norm from Cheers. And I would say this is a whole other category. Might want to put this down for later in the summer. We'll come back to this. Underrated co-stars, if you will. He was not the main character. Sam Malone or why am I blanking on Sam Malone's who played Sam Malone?
Ted Danson.
Ted Danson.
Thank you, goodness gracious. But anyway, but Norm, I would say one of the better.
And Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson showed up late, yeah.
Yeah, and that was, he was a big part of it too. And it's funny, in Doc Hollywood, Woody Harrelson was in that, and he ends up going to this, they're in a southern town, like I think actually South Carolina, and he ends up going to L.A., a lot of reasons, but he says, hey, somebody says, hey, is that, I think I see a star, is that, and he said, no, that's Ted Danson. So got a little, jab in or something. It's kind of fun when you kind of do that kind of stuff, yeah.
But no, we've kind of remembered George Wendt. Now, what we have not done, Jen, if we can, we have not played another great. Now, George Wendt had a bunch of great characters, did a bunch of great things, but let's hear one of his other really good characters and segments, I believe strictly from Saturday Night Live.
With me, as always, are the super fans. Gentlemen, how was your week?
Real good. Fantastic.
Real good.
Fantastic.
Any heart attacks?
I had one.
Had a couple. Good. Hello, my friends, and welcome to another edition of Bill Swirsky Super Fans. I'm Bob Swirsky, and I want to thank everyone for sending those cards to my brother Bill, who recently had another heart attack. We are coming to you live from Ditka's here on Thanksgiving Day, a day for giving thanks for, or taking punishment from, a team that is known as the Bears.
And when you have Chris Farley in that, and you have Mike Myers, and at one point John Goodman was kind of part of the, so classic. Everybody with the mustaches and the glasses. Yeah, good stuff.
Really, really, really good stuff from him, and he will be missed. If you didn't hear last night or yesterday, passed away, according to his family, passed away peacefully in his sleep at the age of 76. But we've done a lot today, and a lot of y'all have weighed in with your favorite theme songs. David says, I grew up on Nick at Night, Green Acres, and Patty Duke. Today is,
oh, gosh.
Okay.
Today is more of Big Bang Theory. Another texter weighed in with Growing Pains.
Oh, yeah.
Good call. Good call.
Doing all that. So keep sending those in. But obviously, Cheers was really, really good back in the day, and certainly very, very good.
Yeah, past part of that Thursday night lineup, man. The iconic times when people would sit around and watch the weekly show because you couldn't binge watch it. You had to wait till the next week when things were happening. It was a different style of TV watching.
And that show in general, think of the stars. What's his name? Oh, John Ratzenberger or whatever. Like
You're talking about for Cheers?
Yeah, for Cheers.
Their cast. Glancing at it this morning, kind of looking a little bit more.
All stars.
It's got a cast that you don't realize. They kind of rotated through there. Christy Alley, obviously, Rhea Perlman, Shelley Long, George Wendt, Ted Danson. That's a strong group.
Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey
and then
Grammer.
The spinoff. You know.
Yep, that's a strong group that rolled through that.
Some people that probably maybe watch Frasier maybe not even know where that came from.
It's very true.
Exactly.
That's very true. So if you're a little down in the dumps today, if you listened to Paul Maneri yesterday, and you learned that Terry Rooney is still going to be the pitching coach, which, hey, all right, now becomes the next part, Preston. We look toward the transfer portal.
Yeah, because he made a statement. He said Terry Rooney was coming back, and he also said there were no other staff changes.
So if you need to feel better about yourself, maybe
that he knows of.
Maybe check out a little Cheers tonight and hang out. Looks like you can watch that on a couple different channels there. So it's been a lot of fun today. We'll come back, do it all tomorrow. A little NASCAR pick 'em as well.
Appreciate y'all.
Y'all have a great rest of the day. Cheers, where everybody knows your name.
Hey, this is Preston Thorne from Midlands Landscape and Lawns, and I'm talking to homeowners who are ready to say goodbye to their lawn care headaches. Do you really want to spend your weekends pulling weeds and guessing at what fertilization you should use? Of course you don't. And Paul Romenstein, the proud owner of Midlands Landscape and Lawns, has one question for you. You going to let the weeds win this summer? You're not. You can achieve your dream